those who don't know us, we are the largest producer of gold and silver in Colombia. We're coming up on our 10th anniversary since the company was founded in 2010 by Serafino Iacono. We've produced about 1.3 million ounces of gold in Colombia over that period of time, with about 1.1 million ounces coming from our high-grade Segovia operations. We're listed on the TSX and the OTCQX. We've got 53.6 million shares issued and outstanding at the present time, a market cap of just under 300 million Canadian. Over the past year, our shares have doubled in price. We've also seen our daily volumes on both the TSX and the OTCQX ramp up significantly over the last year, a lot more liquidity in the stock for people. On a fully diluted basis, about 74.4 million shares, taking into account convertible debentures, options, and warrants we have issued and outstanding. A very exciting thing for us is to watch how this story has unfolded over the last few years since we came out of a debt restructuring in early 2016, the implementation of an optimized mine plan focused on our high-grade Segovia operations, and really a dramatic improvement in total shareholder return over that period. If you look at our 3-year total shareholder return, there was a recent article in Stockhouse quoting news from the Financial Post. We're one of the top 5 Canadian mining and metal stories over that 3-year period. Last September, the TSX initiated their inaugural TSX 30. It was a recognition of the top companies with a 3-year shareholder return. And out of 563 companies that met the criteria to be in that rating, we finished at number 17. So we're very proud of how we've turned this company around in the market, giving our shareholders exactly what they're in for, which is more money for their shares. And what's key to our success, we hit another record year again in 2019. We produced 240,000 ounces of gold, which was the top end of our guidance range. 214,000 of those ounces came from Segovia, which was up about 11% this year over the previous year. And 26,000 came from our Marmato project, which had a real strong push at the end of the year when we started to increase grades in the project as we head into a new chapter for Marmato that I'll speak to a little later in our presentation. It's really nice when you have a nice cornerstone asset like Segovia that's in the top 5 global underground gold mines by gold grade. We processed about 1,200 tons a day of material last year at an average 16.4 grams per ton, sitting in those top 5. We've got a fairly solid reserve right now of the next 3 years covered with 700,000 ounces, but the key for Gran Colombia moving forward is exploration. We want to continue to explore our high-grade title. Our objective is to take our reserve up over 1 million ounces with our accelerated exploration effort. But consistently over the history of the Segovia title, the average mining grade's been about 12 grams. So it's historically a wonderful project for us. We have a unique 3,000 hectare title. There's 27 known veins from past mining activities within the title. We're currently only and have been only mining on 3 of those veins. We're in a very unique position that we've not been in before, where our balance sheet is now strong enough that we can go out and accelerate our exploration in all the mining areas that we know of that we're not currently working on. And that's what we're going to move forward with this year. Last year, we raised a little bit of money with a convertible debt. And we've put that aside. We started using that in the second half of the year to double our exploration effort last year. We spent about $10 million drilling in Segovia. We're going to commit another $10 to $12 million this year, 70% of which will continue to focus in around the existing 3 mines, and 30% of which is now going to step out into a regional exploration program. To help us select and prioritize the targets in both the near mine as well as the regional exploration, we engaged Goldspot Discoveries, who's here at the show, to help us last year by using their machine learning capabilities, taking all of this manual data that we had collected and we inherited when we bought the assets, digitize it, and start to use it to draw in on focus on where we can prioritize our drilling targets. So we received the output from them just before Christmas. Our geologists are going through it, but there's some very interesting observations coming out of that are going to help ensure that we prioritize and drill where we can be successful in the short term. The key to the success with this optimized mine plan at Segovia is mechanization. Last week, I had the pleasure of going back down to Segovia with our board to tour the Segovia operations, and I was floored by what I saw in improvement in mechanization within the mines. In particular, Providencia, which has been the greatest source of our production growth the last couple of years, being very high grade. It was extremely rewarding to see how much mechanized equipment we've been able to put down in the lower parts of the mine, helping us increase volumes, training our employees, including part of our social program, which is focused on training women to be able to do the same jobs that the guys are doing in the mines in Colombia. Jennifer Hoyos here is the first woman certified in Colombia to operate heavy equipment underground. So in everything we're doing within our program, between the mechanization and the training, ensuring that we have a qualified workforce that can take us forward. And the other thing we've been doing with our infrastructure improvements is, again, making it more efficient for us, not only to get our material out of the mine, but to get our people down into the mine and use more of that time of day that they're working towards actually working as opposed to traveling. So what I mean by that is, what used to take 2 hours at Providencia to go from the surface down to level 16 where we're currently mining, took us 25 minutes last week. A huge savings in time that now our workers will be able to work at the face more. They also won't be as tired because we're using personnel skips now that are transporting them down as opposed to making them walk down. So a major part of our investment, change in the daily life of our workers. And that creating a culture of health and safety has been an important part. We want every one of our workers that goes to work in the morning to come home at night. So over the last 4 years, we've focused on our health and safety programs. And we've seen dramatic reductions in lost time injuries and days lost due to injury in our Segovia operations. We've also focused on the fact that we're in a historic mining community in Segovia where mining has been a way of life. Within our title, while we're focused on 3 main mines, there's at least another 45 mines in our title where there are small artisanal miners doing a little bit of material. We want to keep them working in the title, but what we do is we bring them under an operating contract. We bring them on, we make sure their health and safety practices match what we want for our own operations, their environmental practices, their explosive license are up to date. And the key requirement is that that material doesn't go to the illegal mills that use mercury and cyanide and then pollute the environment. It comes to our mill where it gets weighed, samples, and then we pay them very quickly to stay, to keep their cash flow going. But that material is all coming into our site. And the model is gaining more and more acceptance as we're moving along. And it's a model that has been studied by others in the region, including Continental, to see how that can be employed elsewhere. In July this year, we completed the expansion of our mill from 1,200 to 1,500 tons a day. It's helped us in the latter part of the year increase our tonnages, and as we go into 2020, we'll continue to leverage 100% of that capacity. We're also getting consistently about 90% gold recoveries, so it's a mill that I've watched over the years really improve in terms of its effectiveness of operating to support the operations, and there's some additional changes that we'll fund this year. But I think last week, one of the things I saw at the site that I was most amazed by was the new El Chocho tailing storage facility, which has been under construction for about the last year and a half or so. We commissioned it in late part of 2018. It's been running now. This is going to be the place where we store the tailings coming from the mill over the next 7 or 8 years. But what I really was excited to see was the new dry filter press that went into operation in July of this year. We're now getting the water out of the tailings so we can dry stack tailings. You can see in the bottom chart here, you can see the 2 pipes of water, the dark water on the one side, which is really sort of what's coming into the plant, and the clean water coming out the other side after all the solids have been captured within the filters. And that clean water is being recirculated back to the plant and reused in the operations. So there's a continuous flow with the system. It allows us ultimately to dry stack, and all of this area, once it's been fully used, will be converted back to parkland for the community. Our commitment to ESG in Gran Colombia is pretty solid, and one of the things the board decided after their visit last week is we're forming an ESG committee of the board to provide the leadership right from the top of the company on our ESG initiatives. We have a lot of ESG initiatives going on in Gran Colombia. We just have not yet done a great job of communicating that to investors. So the board wants to ensure that that's what we do as we move ahead. Here, this is one of the old tailings storage facilities that have been closed for some time. We've gone back in and revegetating. We've got reforestation processes going on. Schooling is an important part of our education platform. We've just now opened up a high school in the title. Results, you can look on our website, speak for themselves. Cash and debt, very happy with the strength in our balance sheet that our cash and debt are now 1 for 1. gold notes are being serviced. I want to put in a quick plug for Caldas Gold. This is the new vehicle that Marmato's being spun into. It'll be completed in about the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be listed on the TSXV under the symbol CGC, and it's an exciting way for us now to get a return for our shareholders through Marmato.